I'm a musical theater nerd, so this is my favorite part, and that is breaking it down. Really delving into the text. So you've got kind of your synopsis already. You have your "I want" statement. You have what the song made you feel, and you now have what the music or the score lends to you. Now we're going to take the text back, and we're going to break it down even further. Um, like I said, a lot of students, they want to start right away in learning the lyrics without knowing what they're saying. So I don't let them read it out loud. I just want them to read it and really absorb it. Because if they're trying to say it, they're not going to absorb it as much. So silently reading the text first. Again, resisting the temptation to act it out and try to read it with feeling. Um, Especially like if you're just starting your musical process. Uh, Again, a lot of students in that first read through will start, singing the song because they've listened to the soundtrack for auditions and things like that. And they hate it when I take away, nope, I don't want it with feeling. I don't want it with anything. Just read the text and or sing the song. And they don't, it's hard for them to process that, but they have this preconceived notion of what it should sound like or what it should like without really delving into it themselves. Um, so I make sure resist the temptation to act it out or read it with feeling. Just read it silently, and you're going to be an investigator. Um, Find clues about what the song is about, um, and uh, and kind of right over to the side. I have all my students print out their lyrics right over to the side. Kind of what is this part about? What is this part about? And then we break it down into 3 moments. So every song, every "I want" song has an objective. So what is the main objective? And then what are your 3 moments? What are your 3 tactics? How are you going to try to get what you want? Um, and every song pretty much has these 3 moments, and that is key for them to understand of how the arc goes in a song. And this is moment 1, and in this moment my tactic is this, and this is moment 2, and he's getting more frustrated or whatever the song is, and then moment 3, um, how has the song resolved? Do you get what you want? So we break every song down into those 3 moments, and then we go into it a little bit further. So I have them write out the lyrics the right side of a piece of paper, um, and then they're going to skip every other line and identify the following: unknown words or phrases. So, a lot of times students will, or songs will have in their catchy phrases or phrases they may not know. And so I have them identify it, because if you don't identify it, they're just going to sing it anyway. Um, and so they write that out and then they look it up. What does this phrase mean? What does this word mean? And on the right side, they'll write it out. And I do have them color code everything with all of these things I have them identify. So it looks like an annotated English paper, if you will, or an annotated book once the song is done. So they identify unknown words or phrases, and then on the right side, they they write those definitions out. Repeating phrases. If all songs have a lot of times repeating phrases and phrases that are said multiple times and more than once. And so I tell my students it's really important that if it's repeating, it's not said the same way every single time. So really finding which one or what it each time it's said, what is it meant? your action words, and these are going to give you insight into your gestures that you can use. So does it say raising you up? What are your action words? And I have them circle that, and what could be a gesture that you have in that moment, in that with that action word, or a facial expression. So this really isolates action words to help them with their gestures and their movements. Your operative words that are in the moment, that really set forward the the time that the song is in. So, um, like for instance, he died today. Um, Today would be the operative word because um, it's happening right now. So, or I love you now. So now would be the operative word because while they say I love you, the operative word is now because that means, well, maybe they didn't love you before. So they identify the operative words. Um, another thing I've seen them have trouble with is their punctuation. We all have those students that we have trouble with rate, especially with songs and tempo, and it's a lot of it's because they're not identifying their punctuation. Where is that comma? Where is that period? And those are going to give you some natural beats there. And your fricative words, identifying those are going to really help your students help your students with diction, because fricative words they restrict your vocal cords and your vibrato. So I say, those are the words you're going to have to really work on, really over articulating and really using your diction so that it comes out in your song. So speaking of fricative words, I've given you a chart of voiced and unvoiced fricative words. So with voiced fricative words, your vocal cords are vibrating, so you can add the vibrato. So them, vote, vision, zoo. Unvoiced, you cannot have any vibrato. It is straight toned. Your vocal cords will not vibrate. So thin, faced, she, so, he. So we pronounce these in class together, and they get a feel for the mouth shape so that it's not muffled when they're singing, and that diction really comes out in their fricative words. So this would be an example of a song breakdown of how I have them do it. And again, they create a key up here of highlighting different words, underlining, circling, and really finding their what they're supposed to have in their operative words, and the things from the chart before. Another thing they do, and under each, like I said, they skip every other line, and that is for subtext. So underneath each line, especially the more important lines, I have them identify their subtext in their lyrics and their script. And then the final step would be identifying the world of the song through character analysis. Now, a lot of directors like to do the character analysis first. I personally like to do it last, because they've dissected the lyrics. Now they get more excited about performing this character and really showing the emotion, and they're able to answer the questions more thoroughly. So I like to do this as my final step, because they can delve into it a little bit more, and they're not making up answers like high school students sometimes do. when it comes to character analysis, and they can think more analytically about it. And so these are just a few of the questions that I ask. I'm a huge fan of Uta Hagen, so I love the Uta Hagen 9 as well, to really have students delve into the world of theater. So these are just the questions that I put down on their analysis. What year and date? What is the season? Will it affect the blocking? So, if it's outside at night and it's cold, are there places where you can add a chill, and just things to help them, their physicality? What's the weather like outside? What is the place? How does the weather affect the character's internal state right now? What is the social class of the character? And just things like that. Each director has their own character analysis, I'm sure, that they like to use. We also talk about relationships. What is your relationship with the other characters? And who are you speaking to really have the student develop the character. And this is going to really help you, especially if you perform thespies, because as we know, a lot of the most of the thespy rubric is acting. And so that's what I tell my students. I said, I personally would much rather have a student that maybe not be the best singer, but they are going to act that song to a T and really understand the character, because the audience, especially with musical theater, is going to be forgiving a lot of times with the ears, as long as the actor is really performing the song and really gets the character. The audience is going to have a catharsis, regardless of if the actor is a fantastic singer or a mediocre singer. And that's just my opinion as a director. And so that really lit a fire with my students. And so they enjoy this unit, and they really like developing the world of the song. And so they do this every single step. And then, so for the final step, what I have to do in class, I don't make them do this if we're doing like the musical, because I hope that they will do this on their own, but I have them perform it as a monologue to get those natural rhythms and tempos out of their heads, so that they can perform it first and really identify the moments and everything that we did with the pre-work. So they do perform it as a monologue and then as a song, so that you can see the difference. And every class I've done this with, and every student, it's just made a world of difference when they're performing. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation and you can take it to your students. As always, please feel free to contact me, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have.